Do you know about the kid that couldn't leave his house and he would spy on his neighbors and he actually caught a killer?
No.
So it's based on real events about a kid named Cal who actually got in trouble at his school for beating up his teacher, and he was actually sentenced to house arrest.
What?
So he was forced to wear an ankle monitor around his ankle so it would track him wherever he went, so he could never go outside. And every time he would try to leave his house, his ankle monitor would start flashing red and the police would come and have to give him a warning. Basically, he was stuck in his house and all he would do is play video games until his mom canceled his Xbox account and he was left with nothing to do.
Dude, that sucks.
Yeah, so it forced him to entertain himself. So what he would do is stare outside his window and observe his neighbors. Like, he got to know all his neighbors' routines really well. So he'd be like, this neighbor goes to work at this time. This neighbor's cheating on their husband. And like, he just was so obsessed with watching his neighbors.
That's a little creepy.
So he ended up spying on his neighbor Ashley, who he had a huge crush on, and it turns out she actually kind of liked him too. But one night, Cal was watching the news, and on the news, they were talking about this girl that went missing. But the last time they saw her, she was seen with a guy in a green Mustang. And later that night, on Cal's street, he sees a green Mustang pull up with a dent on the front of the car. So Cal realized that that Mustang looked exactly like the same Mustang on the news, and it actually belonged to his neighbor, Mr. Turner.
That's weird.
So the next day, Cal, Ashley, and a friend really started spying on Mr. Turner. And that night, they saw Mr. Turner bring home a girl from dinner, and they thought, like, he might kill this girl. So they're spying on them, watching them, right? And they don't see anything weird until later that night. Cal got his binoculars and started looking at Mr. Turner. Like hides underneath his window, and then he looks up and he sees the girl's car drive off. So he's like, oh, so she's fine, she got away.
Wait, she left?
Yeah, so the next day Cal wakes up and goes to his kitchen, and Mr. Turner is in his house, and Mr. Turner is helping Cal's mom, and he looks like a really nice guy.
So he's actually good then.
Well, later that night, Cal and Ashley were back in Cal's room, and they decided to look at Mr. Turner's house. Have Ronnie go sneak into Mr. Turner's car when he wasn't there and try to... Ronnie like broke into Mr. Turner's car, so he's trying to look for his garage clicker, but he couldn't find it. So when he was leaving his car, Ronnie accidentally left his phone in Mr. Turner's car and forgot he did that.
Ronnie's messing up.
So that night, Ronnie's freaking out, right? He's like, I need to get my phone. So they decide, let's go try to break back into Mr. Turner's car. So Ronnie goes back into Mr. Turner's car and he finds the garage clicker, right? But he can't find his phone. So he goes into the garage to like looking for the phone, but then the garage shuts. So he's stuck in the garage, but they find a body.
Wait, if they found a body, they should just call the police.
Yeah, so they did call the police show up. They go look at Mr. Turner's garage and they couldn't find the body. So they no longer believe Cal and Ronnie. They think they're just lying. They think they know all along. So Cal's mom feels really bad for Mr. Turner because Cal's always accusing him of being a killer. So she goes to his house the next day and tells him like, I'm sorry. But Mr. Turner ends up knocking her out and holding her captive on the table. And then Mr. Turner gets into Cal's house and he knocks out Ronnie. And then Mr. Turner starts fighting Cal and Cal lost. Oh, come on. So Mr. Turner tried to make it look like Cal's responsible for all the murders. So he ties Cal up and makes Cal make a fake confession saying that he's the one that killed everybody. But luckily, Cal managed to get away by using a pen.
Pen?
Yeah, like he hit Mr. Turner with a pen and then he took off running. But Cal knows that he still has to prove that there's like a bunch of bodies somewhere. Mr. Turner's actually the murderer. So he ran into Mr. Turner's house and he's looking for all the bodies. And then he goes into the basement and he finds a bunch of bodies.
Wait, doesn't Cal still have his ankle bracelet?
Yeah, so since he has the ankle bracelet on, it goes off. Right? And the police have to come because he's escaping. But when the police officer shows up at Mr. Turner's house, Mr. Turner feels like, oh, you're not telling me this guy gets away. So Cal ends up finding Mr. Turner again in his house. And they're like, and Cal wins this time. And then Cal throws Mr. Turner into the basement with all the other dead bodies. And finally, the police believe Cal.
Well, yeah, there's a bunch of bodies under the house.
Yeah, so Mr. Turner and Cal like the bodies under his house. Cal ended up being let off house arrest on good behavior, and he just lived a happy life with Ashley.
Okay, it is kind of scary to think that your neighbors could be killers.